Hello, everyone. This is Natasha Fernandes, and we are on video number 4 of the 6-part series of Changing Your Habits and Getting Things Done. So, before we begin, let me get you a quick summary. Okay, so when we started off the series, we spoke about a lot to do with rewiring your story, rewriting your story, and also looking at what are the aspects that is not allowing you to move ahead in life and changing your habits to just make your life more happier, productive, and effective. The second video, we spoke about letting go of the past and not about just using any philosophical methods, but using practical methods to let go of your past. And the third one, we spoke about the neurotransmitter dopamine and how brain reacts to pleasure and pain, reward and punishment system. So now today in the video number 4, I will also be speaking on how you can focus on your priorities, keeping all of these 3 aspects in mind. So let us go back to about you telling your story. So, what was your presenting situation? So, wherever you have made a note about what was your presenting situation and what is it that you wanted to change, okay? So, let us begin to look at that. So, if you have it written on your notebook or a paper, you can keep it in front of you. Okay, and then as we begin this reflection and this exercises, the first thing that you had written of what is your presenting situation. Okay, and then there were a few questions about how does that make you feel and all the other activities that you had done in video number 1. The video number 2 taught you of how to use your memory and imagination to create inspiration rather than to be stuck over the things that cannot be changed, which is like way past, like so many years back, or even something that was futile that was happening in your head yesterday. Okay, so now after we know about the dopamine and its effects and the overstimulation, today in this video, we are going to look at what are the activities that are adding to this overstimulation, which is not allowing you to focus, which is not allowing you to concentrate, and which is reducing your attention span. The first and the very famous example which I gave you about was social media and its algorithms. So what about kids? Do kids use social media? Like, do small babies use social media? Because there are certain things, okay, which are formed by habit. There are certain things which are ingrained in us, especially when I spoke about the conditioning, the classical conditioning. So what happens is that our environment also makes a lot of difference. So in the environment, if you have been collectively living with people who are only focusing on living their life and focusing on the next activity and the next activity and not ever thinking of developing a long-term goal, a long-term vision, largely your life tends to roll out in the same way because that's what you have seen and that's what you know. And this is also what is like 50% responsible for your personality, which is known as nurturing. Okay. And when I give you this information, I do not mean you to go and park blame on other people whom you are living with or who you have formed a habit out of, but rather take responsibility and change it. Many a times, okay, when we talk about change, we say that you must take responsibility of your own life in order to change. But what happens about that? It is the same thing about the dopamine as a neurotransmitter because taking responsibility doesn't feel like a pleasurable activity. It feels burdensome or it feels cumbersome. That why can't things be easy? That's the first thing you will hear people saying who are stuck in their life with a lot of repetitive issues of why can't things be easy? What wrong have I done for this to happen to me? Or why is it happening to me? Why is it not happening to anybody else? So this is the first perspective, perception that you need to change when you talk about not having an instant gratification about things. Because when you talk about overstimulation and losing your focus and concentration, It can happen many a times that you do not have the patience to wait for your own projects to come into fruition. You may not have patience to wait for your own relationships to work out. You may not have patience for your own business to become success. And what is the result of that? As a result of that, you will feel frustrated. You will feel that you are not good enough, and you will feel that you are not capable of doing things. But that's wrong. That's completely a myth. You are capable of doing everything that you decide you want to do. Now, Dr. Edward of Harvard University had spanned out a research where he found out that the only determinant for personal and financial success of a person was long term vision and thinking. So, if you do not have a long term vision and thinking, okay, it is less likely for you to succeed. So, what happens is that you definitely can have shorter goals, but you need to have a vision of how your life looks like. Okay, we will do an exercise towards the end of the video for trying, like, starting to develop a vision for yourself. So, what Dr. Edwards says is that the people who are focused on long term vision have the ability to focus on long term success. They have the ability to persevere. They have the ability to have patience, focus, attention, and concentration, and put efforts and give priority to those aspects, habits in their life, which is going to lead to make either their dreams come true or their projects or their targets come true into success. Now, I'm not saying that everybody needs to be wired this way, but what happens, what are the downfalls if you are not wired for long term thinking? Is the same. You can jump to the previous video and check the overstimulation, like wasting a lot of time on social media, wasting your time in addictive activities. That addictive activities could also be like eating, reaching out to your comfort food when you're feeling emotions, shutting your emotion. And what happens to your story then? You are always the victim in the story, or you will look to be a rescuer in someone else's story, even if the person doesn't need your rescuing or doesn't need your help. You will always be that wounded hero who is trying endlessly, but nothing works for him or her. So, this is how your story will span out. Rather than that, okay, rather than that, let us look of how we can do a detox of our emotions. How can we do a detox of our dopamine, which is over secreted and which is not allowing you to focus and concentrate? First thing, okay, the first list that you're going to make is, what are your daily distractions? What are the things that distract you on a daily level? Is it the mobile phone that you keep on reaching out to? Because that's an instant gratification. You have posted a story on Instagram, or you have posted something on Facebook, and you keep on checking of who are the people who have checked it, who have responded, who have commented. These are examples of instant gratification. Okay. And second thing, are you reaching out to a chocolate every time you feel a choking sensation of emotions that's happening to you and you don't want to deal with it? Are you reaching out to a burger? Are you reaching out to any junk food? Because the research also says that people who have a long term thinking do take care of themselves very well. They take care of their mental health, they take care of their physical health, because they know that they are the ones, like the most important character in their story, who is going to achieve that long term vision, goal, and target. Everybody else is a contribution in their story, and they are the main character. So, would you like to be that main protagonist in your story rather than being a victim, rather than being, a rescuer and then eventually becoming a people pleaser? So, can you see the kind of emotions that you exhibit? Either if you feel like a failure, okay, or you feel you're not good enough, you will try the aspects of blame, okay, parking the blame on someone, shame, feeling shameful and not doing anything about it. You'll have a lot of guilt and regret for your actions of what you have not done. But what I want to tell you and encourage you, that it is never too late. It is your life. You are going to live your life. Nobody else is going to do that. And you can change the course of your life anytime. So, what steps are we going to do today? First one is that do take a notebook and a pen and write all the distractions that you have. The distractions could be continuously messaging your friends, okay, even when there is nothing much to talk about, or you have already spoken, and putting your work in priority, in the last priority. So I don't mean that you lose your social connections and you just sit and focus on that. That will make you a very boring person again. But at the same time, how much of what is required? Setting up a routine is of utmost importance if you are someone who is overly stimulated by the activities which I have explained a lot by now in the last videos. So what happens to you here? First thing, again, as a summary, make a list of all the distractions that you have noticed or that you can notice on a daily basis. Second one, okay, we are going to take advantage of our mind. Our mind is lazy to a large extent. So, for example, if your phone is a distraction, keep it away from you and get your routine in place. Do the productive activities, whatever is required. Because, for example, if your phone is a little away, your mind is going to convince you that you can take it later, or you can go and play that game later. You don't have to do it right now. And another thing, okay, when you talk about being a hero in your story, or when you talk about changing the course of action and inculcating this long-term thinking vision in your life, ask yourself these questions. What would I like my life to look like in the next year? Okay. Question number 2. What would I like my life to look like in the next 5 years? Question number 3. What would I like my life to look like in the next 10 years? And I know for the ones who have not practiced, the next 10 years is going to be the toughest. Never mind, you don't have to finish it, but at least I think you can get it to the first question. You can get there easily. That what would I like my life to look like in the next year, in the coming year? You can plan your 12 months, break it down into, small activities. Break it down into very small, easy, doable activities, because the more you change your habit, okay, is the more you change the quality of life. So this was all about how you can detox yourself from distractions and overstimulation. And in the next videos, I will be coming up with talking more about mindfulness and gratitude as a practice to change your habits and getting things done. Till then, take care.
Help Talks are daily health-related talks held at Health Education Library for People, Mumbai, India. For more information visit www.healthlibrary.com. Subscribe to Help Talks channel. Be better informed about your health.